Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, lovely people. Coach Adrian here, doing yet another live. I told you I was going to try to do one live a week, and it looks like Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern is going to be that time. Today, I wanted to talk about a different kind of topic. I wanted to talk about why do we cheat on someone we love? And most importantly, how to make things right. This is a topic that unfortunately more and more and more people wonder about. Why do people cheat, especially when it's someone that you love? And I had a few coaching sessions with individuals in the last 2, 3 days that were cheated on. And so I think that this is very, very timely. As always, thank you for being live with me. Don't hesitate to use the chat. Tell me where you're tuned in from. And hello from Somalia. Thank you, Frelis. And hopefully at the end of the live, I can again take a few questions. To hello to our friends from Germany as well. And yes, so here we are. Why do we cheat on someone that we love? And I wanted to do this live as a three-part video. First, I want to talk about this topic. Why do we cheat on someone that we love? Then I want to talk about the ways to make things right if you cheated. And finally, I want to talk about 5 ways to make things right if it is your partner that cheated, to make sure that we tackle and address this question from every possible angle. So, the 5 reasons why people cheat on someone that we love. The first one is, of course, linked to a lack of self control. When cheating occurs in a relationship, no matter how you slice it, it's because the person lost control. And this is unfortunately something that really happens more and more in our culture because people tend to have less self-discipline in some ways. It's about the pursuit of individual freedoms and passions. It's this me attitude of wanting to do whatever is best for me. And as a result of that, we tend to lose focus and lose track of what is right. And the root is often a lack of self control. That's number one. Number two, alcohol. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with couples where infidelity occurred because of alcohol. People drink way too much and lose that ability to control their impulses and what they do. They're in an alternate reality in some ways. They're no longer masters of their own brain and of their own actions. And because of alcohol, abusing alcohol and drinking way too much, I've seen so many healthy relationships and families be completely broken. And so, that is one of the reasons why we cheat on someone we love. It's because we lose self control or because alcohol can really be a poison of sorts. So be very, very careful. Um, Number three, why do people cheat on someone that we love? It's because of this darn grass is greener syndrome. Again, this is one of the false realities associated with our culture, where we feel like we always need the next best thing, where what we have is not good enough, and we tend to overvalue what we don't yet possess. And so it's so easy to take our partners for granted and to just fall victim to the next temptation. And I warn clients of this. That's what that's what I've dedicated my life and my career to in some ways. Gratitude, cultivating gratitude, being able to appreciate your relationship for what it is, being able to appreciate your partner for what they bring to the table, instead of just focusing on their shortcomings and what another person could do better. Grass is grass. The grass is greener syndrome is a serious problem. Another reason why people cheat, especially on someone that they love, is because they're seeking this short-term validation over long-term satisfaction and self-respect. And it's difficult sometimes to take a long-term approach to well-being and happiness, especially again when we're constantly bombarded with messages that are telling us that we need to do YOLO. Whatever you feel like doing right now, you should do it, because you don't know what tomorrow holds, or because we're used to these short dopamine hits that while being exposed on social media, for example, and so we give up on ourselves, on our partner, when in reality, it's through that long-term satisfaction and self-respect that we ultimately find freedom and happiness. And the last reason why that I've seen in my coaching sessions why people cheat often is because of an absence of spiritual qualities or virtues, right? Compassion, empathy, love, respect, patience. Oftentimes we don't take enough, we don't focus enough on developing those qualities and living out those virtues, and so the result is that we do something stupid that we later regret. So, those are some of the reasons why people cheat based on what I have seen, right, in my coaching sessions, day in and day out. If this resonates with you, if this makes sense, please, like or send me a heart or something, so that I can make sure that this is relevant to what you guys are going through. And thank you, Stephanie. So of course there are many, 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 many other reasons why people cheat, right? But this is what I see daily, and something that I'd love to raise awareness on, so that people don't continuously make those same mistakes over and over and over and over again. So thank you to all of you that are live with me. Like I was saying, I'm going to try to do a live like this every week on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. To take it a step further, I wanted to talk about the ways to make things right if you cheated, right? So maybe some of you that are here, like Ja said, I cheated, I manned up, I'm not perfect, just a confession. I love that. I love that. We all make mistakes. And this channel is a safe space, right? We all make mistakes. If we own up to them and we seek to make things right, I want to create a community that is here to support you through this. And it doesn't make things right on its own, but as long as there's this desire to make things right, I am going to be your coach, and I'm going to be here to help you figure it out. So how can we make things right if we treat it? Well, first and foremost, a genuine, heartfelt apology is necessary. It sounds so simple and straightforward, but in many cases, people get defensive. They try to gaslight. They try to blame their partner, even though they're the ones that committed, the act of infidelity. And it's very, very, very important to apologize, not in a hasty way just to do it or to alleviate guilt, but to do so from the bottom of your heart. It needs to be a genuine, heartfelt apology. And, in connection to that, of course, it's very important for you to do this also to make sure that you don't dwell in guilt. If you continuously feel guilty, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward and to rebuild that relationship the right way, because you're going to be living in the past and you're going to force your significant other to do so as well. And so, that is the first essential, thing to do if you cheated. The second is to seek to rebuild trust with your significant other. Again, this may sound very straightforward, but so many times after people cheat, they try to get their partner to fall in love with them again instead of trying to rebuild trust. And so you buy grandiose gifts, or you buy flowers, or you make these, declarations of love, but that's not what your partner is looking for. Your partner probably already loves you. They just don't trust you, or they're hurt. And so we need to seek to rebuild trust in order to make things right. In order to do that, you're going to need to have empathy. We talked about, the absence of spiritual qualities and virtues leading to why people cheat. And we're going to develop, we're going to need to develop those qualities in order to make things right. And empathy is the root and the foundation of rebuilding trust, right? It's not just understanding what your partner is feeling and why, but it's also validating those feelings, making sure that you feel them with them so that they understand that you're connected to their pain. Second, you're going to need to be authentic, no BS, no trying to cut corners. If we're rebuilding trust, you need to be authentic, that authentic self. It doesn't mean that you need to be guilty and to, feel bad about yourself and continuously, punish yourself or convey to your significant other that, that you're sorry. No, that's not what being your authentic self means. It really means being transparent. It means being that higher spiritual self in some ways, and seeking to really support your partner through that journey that you're going through. And third, we're going to need to be consistent. When you're dealing with infidelity, consistency is key. Your partner is in some ways just waiting for you to give them any reason to not trust you. And ultimately, you need to be consistent if you're going to rebuild trust. It can't be just this one act of love. It needs to be consistent actions over time. So how do we do that? Well, that leads me to the third way, which is to focus on new habits. Focus on rebuilding new habits. It will prove to your significant other that you're not the same person in some ways. They will see your change through actions and not through words. This is valid for people that are coming out of a breakup too. And we're too often focused on words rather than on actions. If you want to make things right after cheating, your significant other is not just going to believe you just because you say that you're sorry or that you won't do it again. You have to show through your actions as a way to get them really to buy into this new version of you. And of course, this is not something that you can do overnight, right? Which leads me to my fourth point. Patience and selflessness is key to this process. If you cheated, you're going to have to be patient to rebuild that trust. It's not built overnight. So I really urge you to take a long-term view when it comes to rebuilding trust. And you can't make it about you. If you make it about your desire to be with your significant other, your pain, you're going to lose them. You're going to, they're going to think that you're that same selfish person that cheated on them in the first place, and that, your apology or your actions are motivated by, selfish desires. And that's not what we want to convey to your significant other. So lastly, if you cheated and you want to make things right, know that it is possible, but you have to do so by focusing on the good, on all those reasons that enabled you guys to be together in the first place, not on what went wrong. Once you've done your apology, once you've started to rebuild trust, once you're focusing on building new habits, we want to focus on creating a new connection by focusing on the good. All those quality traits and attributes that caused your partner to be attracted to you in the first place. That's what we want, really. That's what we want to showcase. And at the same time, instead of trying to get your significant other to love you again, just try to get them to smile, because it's very difficult to be mad and upset when we're smiling and happy. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But I really believe that that you can rebuild a healthy, loving relationship even after an act of infidelity if you're committed to that process, right? So I wanted to also in this video tackle the other side of the coin, right? Ways to make things right if you were cheated on, if your partner is the one that that dropped the ball, basically. How can you rebuild a healthy relationship? Well, first and foremost, it's important for you to not chase someone who doesn't take accountability for their actions. Okay? Again, this might sound very simple and straightforward, but I can't tell you how many times in coaching sessions I'm working with someone who was cheated on and whose partner has not taken accountability for their actions. Not only were you cheated on, but on top of that, you are the one that has to do the work to convince them that the relationship is worth fighting for. If you find yourself in that situation, something isn't right. And really, you should take a step back, because if your partner is not remorseful, what are you fighting for? You need to really be careful. Self-respect, self-worth, right? Putting that above the fear of losing your significant other is very important. It's the only way that they're going to fight for you and the only way for you to be in a healthy relationship moving forward, right? Second, it's very important for you to we're going to assume now at this point that your significant other is willing to work on themselves. They've taken accountability, right? So once they do that, it's very important for you to separate or differentiate the act of infidelity from the person and who they are. If you don't, it's going to be very hard. You're going to just be resentful and you're going to be afraid. But if you're able to separate the two, then you can live with this sense of awareness that good people can make mistakes. Good people can do bad things, because no one is perfect. And I'm sure that you've done mistakes too. Obviously, perhaps not as significant, but if you take this approach of life being a learning process and growing together as a unit, then you're giving them an opportunity to grow. You're giving them an opportunity to make up for it in some ways. And that's very important if you're trying to rebuild a relationship after you've been cheated on. Third, we're talking about rebuilding trust. So how can you trust someone that has cheated on you? How can you be sure that you're not going to be hurt again, right? It's a very, very essential, important question that I get asked a lot. And unfortunately, the reality is that in love, you can never be sure. It's part of that aspect of love where we have to be vulnerable that makes it so special in some ways. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be reckless. Of course, you need to be sure that this person has learned, has grown, has evolved. And so, just like we were talking about focusing on building new habits and looking at actions earlier, this in the same light, you want to be sure that you're looking at your partner's action and not their words. Of course, they need to apologize, but we need to go beyond that. It's not just about a genuine, sincere apology. They need to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And it's easy to BS someone through words, but it's a lot harder to manipulate or to BS someone through your actions, because your actions, in a way, are a reflection of who you are. And it's actions over time. It's not just one sweep, right? We're talking about rebuilding trust. So make sure that you look at their actions, how they behave over a long period of time, and that should give you a lot of a feeling of well-being, and uh, gives you a chance to open up your heart slowly again, because you will have seen that this person is indeed acting in a different way. Also, personal transformation. This is something that I talk about in every single one of my videos, right? Using the challenges that we face in love as a means to evolve and to grow. And if you have been cheated on, there's no way to move forward unless you go through that process of personal transformation. Because a lot of times you need to rebuild that self-love. You need to rebuild confidence. You need to regain a sense of emotional independence, because all of those things have been shattered by the recklessness of your partner. And those are things that you can control. That's the beauty of the process. By focusing on these things that you can control, you can, in some ways, be in control of your emotional destiny, as well as really motivate and encourage your significant other to do the same. You can lead by example, right? And this is one of the reasons why I love what I do, why I'm so passionate about the work that we do. It's because we help people grow from the ashes, from the most challenging situations that they've had to face in their lives. They're able to completely transform their lives in a very meaningful way. And that is what you should seek to do as well. Lastly, I encourage you to do couples coaching or therapy, couples therapy, because we're thinking long term here, right? We're thinking long term. And even if there's a desire to make things work, there's going to be challenges that come up. There's going to be things that have not been dealt with, or that you're perhaps not equipped to deal with on your own. And having a third party there to help through that those challenging times and deal with those blind spots is absolutely necessary. That's why we offer couples coaching sessions on Happily Committed. So to work with couples that are dealing with infidelity, because we understand the benefit of that. But it doesn't have to be us. If you're working with a therapist that is good for you, could be good for your couple, I encourage you to pursue that, right? Ultimately, it's about working with someone that you trust, someone that you're comfortable with, someone that can help you be action oriented, and um, not just talking about theoretical stuff and the reasons why the infidelity occurred and unpacking all of your childhood traumas. And all that is important, but you need to go beyond that to make sure that the work that you're doing translates into practical day-to-day actions that you can take to rebuild that relationship the right way. So I hope all this was helpful. If it was, please let me know. Wanted to address, why do we cheat, even on someone that we love, and what we can do, 5 ways that we can make things right, whether we cheated or whether our significant other was the one that cheated. I also wanted to give you a free gift, a 10-minute video on how to overcome being cheated on. And this will be in the description box of this video. And it's really my pleasure to be able to share that with you, and for it to be another resource that you can use. I'll put it in the chat as well. So I'm almost out of time, but if you have a question related to this topic that you would like me to address, please, maybe I can take a couple before I have to sign off here. So don't hesitate to write that in the chat. Okay. Priscilla asked, what do you classify as cheating? Very good question. In the sense of this happening more than 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, would you consider this an addiction or something else? So if you've been cheated on multiple times by the same person, I would really be um, careful. I would not all relationships are meant to be saved. Not all relationships are meant to be saved. And it's very important for me to tell you this because sometimes we may love someone that's not good for us. And if we're in a relationship that doesn't uplift us, if we're with someone that's constantly basically breaking our little spirit and using the relationship as a means to satisfy their own selfish desires, if they're being reckless, if you've been cheated on 4 times in the same relationship, that's not healthy. And you need to find the courage and the support system to walk away. Right? Now, cheating can mean different things to different people. Emotional cheating is real. And and I've worked with couples where just sending a flirty text message was worthy of separation. And I've worked with other couples who have a lot more of a liberal view of relationships, let's say, where their definition of cheating would blow your mind. But the truth is, you need to stay true to your values and not um, work on or not compromise your values out of fear of losing your significant other, or not just conform to what other people around you are doing. Right? Don't base your moral compass based on what you see on TV or what your friends feel is appropriate. Because sometimes we live in a sick society, and being well acclimated to a sick society is no measure of good health. So that's so Stephanie says, can a man really be regretful but bad at expressing it? Absolutely, without a doubt. There are no absolutes, right? And a lot of times men are very bad at communicating their feelings and emotions. So it is very possible. Now, again, look at the man's actions, not just his words. Right? He can be bad at expressing regret, but if through his actions he's showing you that he's not regretful, then perhaps you should consider what you're doing here. Dorfriend says, my husband had a 4-year affair, emotional and physical. How do I stop the pain? He said he still loves me, but how can he love me 4 years? I'm really sorry. I hear stories like this in coaching sessions, every week. So I know how devastating this can be. If you're watching this video, it means that there's part of you who's still committed to trying to make this work, and I commend you for that. I think that it makes you a very strong person, and you need a support system. This isn't something that you can overcome on your own. So like I said, watch my free video that I shared with you, how to overcome being cheated on. I think that will help you. Don't hesitate to work with us too if you want to, or if you have a therapist, lean on them, because you're going to need support of more than friends and family in these types of situations. They may not give you the right advice, but it is possible. If you are willing to move past this, it is possible, especially if your husband is now committed to living a different type of life, right? And if they apply some of the advice that we shared earlier in this video, if he applies some of this advice, I do believe that a new and improved relationship is possible, and over time you can learn to trust him again once he has earned that trust. Don says narcissistic people never stop cheating. That's true. There are some people that can't stop themselves. It's true. I've seen it. And in situations like this, you want to walk away because, the point of a relationship is to grow together and to build something of substance, common life project. And for both people to be able to grow. And so, if that's not possible with and you feel like you're dealing with a narcissist, then you should walk away. So friends, I would love to take more questions, but unfortunately I have to go. But I'll be back next Tuesday for another live. Not sure what topic will be covered then, but I'm committed to doing this once a week in order to be closer to you, and also to answer your questions and to make sure that I'm sharing some of the valuable tips that are shared in coaching sessions with all of you, no matter where you are in the world. So Fanny says it's midnight here in Indonesia. and you're here with us. So thank you for your trust. Really warms my heart, and it motivates me to continue to do this more and more and more. So, you know what you got to do, guys. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight. And if you have topics that you want me to address in lives, don't hesitate to put that in the chat as well. So that I can, maybe you'll inspire the next topic that we'll cover. So, as always, thank you so much, and see you soon for another live.